Hello people, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the channel for those who are viewing it for the first time. Today I'm going to cover 4 topics. Topic 1 will be on the state of emergency. Topic 2 will be on gangs and violence. Topic 3 will be on the interaction that police and civilian have on a daily basis, the rights that are protected by the Jamaican Constitution and so forth. And lastly, I'm going to cover Jamaican prison system and inmates with cell phone. So let me get straight into state of emergency. I'm going to be speaking in layman terms. In other words, I'm not going to be citing in court cases, and I'm not going to be citing any sections of the Constitution for Jamaica. If and when one of you guys want me to back what I'm saying with legal findings, then I'll do that. This channel is not where I'm going to be speaking in parables that you guys can't understand what I'm saying, or using unnecessary big words to seem that I'm overeducated or so on and so forth. The aim is to get you to understand what I'm saying the fastest way and in the simplest manner. So, here's the thing. State of emergency. The Jamaican Constitution and the Jamaican law does leave room for state of emergency. State of emergency is legal when the government deems that it is necessary. State of emergency could be seen as a necessary evil. What I mean by that is, when the state of emergency is in effect, if it is a particular area or the entire country is in state of emergency, citizens' rights are usually suspended. And the law, the Constitution, gave room for that. However, suspension of human rights or citizens' rights is mandated to be on a temporary basis. The aim of state of emergencies are to find a good. In other words, state of emergency are usually put in effect for the greater good. So even though some or all the citizens might suffer, for example, curfews, they can't move about as they usually would like, during the state of emergency, the rights of Jamaicans are not entirely suspended. Police officers who are interacting with people in the neighborhood who are under state of emergency still have to apply the law in interaction with them during the state of emergency. Police can't just treat you as if you have no rights. Police have to actually talk to you with the respect that is prescribed by law. For example, if the police is going to search your house, he's going to tell you why he's going to search your house. Just like a police should tell you why he's going to search your house on a normal basis. On a normal basis, a police usually have to have grounds in order to enter your home or in order to stop you and search you and so on and so forth. At the moment, the JLP and the PNP are having a little tug-of-war with the state of emergency, with extension of the state of emergency. According to the Jamaican Labour Party, the state of emergency that has been in effect has produced great result or good result, and they're happy with it. And according to the Jamaican Labour Party, an extension of the state of emergency could probably enhance the good that has been achieved already. The People's National Party also has a right to object, and their legal grounds could be that a state of emergency should be a temporary solution, a temporary application. But at the same time, despite us being the losing party, despite us being the winning party, we still have to have one thing as top priority. And top priority should be the country and the citizens of the country, despite who's in power and despite who's out of power. So I would hope that the objection to extend the state of emergency isn't solely because we have the power to object and we are objecting. I would like to believe that even though one party is out of power, they still put their differences aside when it comes to the safety and the livelihood and the benefit for the country and the citizens of the country. So I hope it's not, in recent news that I've seen, it is clear that most of these members of parliament, they've only got age to their existence. There was the whole juvenile explosion the other day, and then there was the middle finger thing where the excuse of putting up an indication for 2 more minutes, and then in another region there was an area where one person says anybody that wears green are not allowed in the constituency. Child's play. All these people need to grow up and they need to go back to the basics. They need to go back to the books, because all of them are subject to code of conduct. And whoever it is in charge needs to start dusting off these books with the written code of conduct and enforcing that these ministers of parliament and opposition and even the ones that are in power start reading. I've said it tons of times on this channel. Jamaicans need to read. And I'm not just talking about the lower level Jamaican, I'm talking about the entire country. They need to read and they need to comprehend what they read and they need to apply what they've read and understood into action. Bottom line, state of emergency has a relevance. And I want Jamaican people, especially the ones that are in the neighborhood that are suffering from the state of emergency or a suspension of their rights, to understand that it is for the greater good. I mean, the prescribed state of emergency is for a greater good. I'm not in Jamaica, so I don't know what's going on. In politics, there's always a lot of trickery, but put faith in the government and just hope that it is for the greater good. And, see it like this is your contribution towards the curtailing of crime in the country, or at least in your neighborhood. One of my subscribers asked me to cover gangs in Spanish Town in particular. When it comes to Jamaican gangs, the only thing I can truly say is, like gangs most places, in a weird way, has some allowance to exercise their activities. I would imagine that the foundations of gangs in Jamaica started on poverty, for one, and started on a resentment of government support. A lot of people in the ghetto in Jamaica will say that they have more faith in dons, gang leaders, than they do in the government. And I get that, because the don or the gangs are right there with you, and you can access them and you can reach them and you can tell them your situation, and they fix the situation from you immediately without any real paperwork. And then when it comes to the government, it's a queuing system, you have to wait. So I can see where gang gets support from their neighborhood. At the same time, these gangs become a miniature government within the country, and they run things on their own rules, which makes them outlaws. But gangs are usually supported by people of power, usually someone who's in politics, or usually someone who is leading a legit life and have access to wealth. Because you see, gangs have to have the things they need. Guns cost money, bullets cost money. What I want a lot of people to understand is this: violence is a commodity. In America last year, they had this whole hype about Black Lives Matters. The truth of the matter is, we are just pawns in a game of chess. We are disposable commodities. And when havoc are created and a few of us died in Jamaica, we are just a part of the process. We're expendable. Our demise benefits someone. Ever create deterrence. Nobody would want to invest in Jamaica because they would be fearing for their life and their safety. If Jamaicans expats abroad was even thinking of coming to Jamaica to reinvest, they would change their minds because they would be fearing for their life. The person who's pulling the trigger, 9 times out of 10, the reason that he has to pull the trigger is not the bigger picture. We're just marching into the direction that these gods want us to march in. I've said it on this channel so many times that the illiteracy rate of Jamaica is very high. Some Jamaicans tend to take offense into that statement when I say a lot of Jamaicans aren't bright. I guess they believe that if you can read and write above a certain level, that's literacy itself. But there's so much more to knowledge, there's so much more to intelligence that Jamaicans fall way below the bar. When I was a child, gangs in downtown Kingston was very vivid. If you took the public transport back then, you knew that gangs were rife. Some buses would say they're not going no further than this place or that place because each time they make a trip, they would have to be paying gangsters money for driving downtown Kingston. And if you don't pay, then you can't park, or you could get beat up, or in the worst case scenario, you could get killed. That same attitude took over Spanish Town bus park after a while. And it was the same. A lot of bus drivers couldn't go into the park because if they go into the park, they have to pay a certain fee. And if they don't pay a certain fee, they can't work. And some cases, they'll get beat up or they'll get killed. These bus drivers are the same people that are paying the actual government. Now, in order for this to be allowed, somebody of authority has to be getting their money too. This is how this works. But at the end of the day, where is all this coming from? Where's the corruption coming from? And why is gangsters going out in Spanish Town Park or downtown Kingston Park and taxing these people that are trying to make a living or are already paying tax to the government? This stems from poverty. Desperate men do desperate things. These people don't have work, and these people think their only alternatives is to rob and steal. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying I understand. You understand? I understand why the extortion in the bus parks used to take place. I don't know if it's currently taking place. Now, in regards to authorities being involved with these gangsters, it's one of two things. Either the same poverty or greed. You know, I wrote a blog about 2-3 years ago, and my solution was very simple. My solution was, where law enforcement are concerned in Jamaica, the government need to triple their income or quadruple their income. Pay them substantially, but at the same time with a shadowed price. And the shadowed price is the country need to invest into a prison. I understand that it's unfair when a person who was a law enforcement officer is found guilty in court. I understand to send him into prison, especially the same prison where he's been sending people, it's kind of like sending him to his death. So I wouldn't recommend that. But what I would recommend is that Jamaica invest in a prison. And this prison, just like how the U.S. has federal prison, and it's people of blue-collar crime or certain felonies that goes to federal prison. Federal crime goes to federal prison. If you are a law enforcement officer and you're caught breaking the law, 9 times out of 10, considering that you're a law enforcement person, it would put you under the federal law jurisdiction. So what I'm saying, Jamaica needs to pay its law enforcement well. Wherever they have to get the money from, I don't really care. Pay them well. And when they're found to be corrupt, give them 100% length of the law's arm. Sack it to them. Put them in the prison and throw away the key. Put them under the prison. Make examples out of them. You see, that's one way of ridding corrupt people. I'm not saying it's going to eradicate it, because people sometimes are just naturally greedy. You understand? And it doesn't matter how much money they're getting paid, they still want more. I don't understand the killing part of the Jamaican gangs. So-called Jamaican gangsters versus gangsters or gangsters' life that has been portrayed on television or in documentary or in movies or in real life. The difference is usually killings and turf war are usually for a prize. And the prize normally leads back to making money the legitimate way, So if you study Colombian gangs, American gangs, and any other country, most of these people that are fighting or that are killing, when you look at the underlying reason, it's always lead back to a trucking route or a bus route or a real estate area or something. In Jamaica, it's usually, I don't like them, they don't like me, who has the bigger gun and who can kill the most people. The gangsters in Jamaica are usually demanding respect to gain notoriety, but no real substance underlying why I'm a gangster, or what is the achievement, or what is the end result of my gangster reign. As far as the havoc and the unrest that it caused the citizens, I can only feel for them. This is not only in Jamaica, this is worldwide. When gangsters reign, the only solution is just to get the police involved. The only thing I could say to someone who lives in an area being mentally affected or emotionally stressed by the situation is, as harsh as it may sound, my solution would be either you move or you cooperate with the police. I understand when you have a corrupt system, when you have a corrupt police department, you don't trust police because, you could give information to police and at the same time that information from the police go right back to the people and end up getting killed. The interaction with police and civilian under the Jamaican law, under any democratic rule, simply requires and as prescribed for a mutual respect. The respect 9 times out of 10 may seem a little 60-40 rather than 50-50 because the police in this case is the law, is the authority. I understand that when it comes to Jamaican police, they forgot that they're just there to be a police and to keep the peace. Jamaican police believe that when they graduated from the police academy, they just got a license to be a bad boy, a license to be a killer, and it's not so. The Jamaican police are not authorized to push around Jamaican citizens. And at the same time, the Jamaican citizens must respect the police and their authority. You must respect it. You understand? I've seen too many videos where citizens, male and female, are refusing arrest and fighting with the police and struggling for the police. It's a very sickening sight. And I understand that a lot of people may say 9 times out of 10, the police is wrong in the situation. I'm not saying yes and I'm not saying no. I'm just saying the police does have that edge over you to arrest. I would have to look closer at the Constitution because I've seen cases where I've seen a case where a guy was just standing and, I think he was just verbally disrespecting the police officer, and the police kind of raised his baton and start hitting him. I'm not so sure if under the law, police are given the right to use that kind of force in a verbal situation. So I would have to look deeper. Those things can be very technical. The main message that I'm trying to send is The Jamaican people must give the authority, the police force, and even the soldiers, the respect they deserve. By giving them that respect, you are contributing towards the better running of the country where it actually works. At the same time, I know that is kind of like rubbing iron against iron, because there are some police officers that overdo their job or let the position of being in authority get to their head. It's not going to be an overnight fix, because the whole JCF in Jamaica would require a whole makeover. I guess they would have to create some workshop where citizens and the police would attend, and they would have to create scenarios and, like teaching a baby how to walk all over again. It's definitely not going to be something that's going to fix overnight where Jamaican law enforcement is concerned. The law enforcement, at the same time, not only have an authority to arrest and to slap on the handcuff, but they are also in a position where they can teach, because while doing their test and while doing their exam to become a police officer, they skidded over some of the rules and some of the regulation that governs Jamaica, and they could also pass that on to a civilian when there's a conflict or when there's going to be an arrest. In some cases, it's only an example. I have to do this. This is my job, and you are in the wrong because XYZ, and in a situation like this, I have to arrest you. When you get to the station, you can contact an attorney, you can speak to the police officer in charge of the station, but I'm just doing my job here and I have to take it. That's only an example, but communication works. And communication goes both ways. I think most time when citizens conflict with police is because there's a bully attitude. The cop, 9 times out of 10, is not reasoning, it's not talking. It's more like, I'm a police officer, you have to do this, and it becomes fireworks. So now for the lighter side of what I want to talk about today. I saw a documentary or a news clip where Jamaican inmates are on social media. It is as funny as it is serious. Jamaican inmates have access to the phone. They were actually sending WhatsApp messages, updating Facebook accounts, and corresponding with their friends all over the world. Good for the inmates, because the only difference in being incarcerated there is just you are locked up. You're in one little area, but otherwise you are enjoying some of the freedom, some of the privileges that most free people are enjoying. What do I have to say about that? Corruption, those cell phones and access to internet or data or Wi-Fi or whatever is being allowed. Is it for the greater good? I don't know, maybe for the greater good of a correctional officer. Maybe they're getting paid. They must be getting paid. There have to be some benefits of it. The only thing I can say about that is corruption. And that goes right back to what I was saying earlier, that if Jamaica build another prison, no one in Jamaica should be above the law. And when anyone is found to be corrupted, especially those who legal authority was entrusted into, those are the ones that you put under the prison. Jamaica is a beautiful country. And like I always say, whichever country has any beauty or wealth, there's going to always be war or deterrence. That is not by coincidence. That is systematically enforced. That's pretty much what I have to say today. This one's kind of long. So thanks for watching. Comment whether it's positive or negative. You can share some insights with me as I've shared my insight with you. Don't just let my voice be the only voice in this channel. And before I wrap up, I want to say once again, thanks for the support. Welcome to all new viewers. I ask you to hit that button and subscribe. Join the conversation and whatever topic that you think I should be talking about, or if you have a topic that I should talk about, or you just want to hear my point of view on it personally, or what are the legal statutes around it, don't be afraid to write it. Until next time, peace.